What up, trending page? Screw you, SNL. We all know by now your shady schemes you use to get yourselves on the trending page every time. You're just a dying show that's way too politically charged and biased, and hasn't been funny since John Belushi left. I will admit that you were mildly funny in the early 2000s, but since 2010 to now, you're just a husk pretty much. Anyway, sorry for that rant. Radfax here. Be sure to subscribe, and let's get on with the video. Today we're talking about SNL and the lawsuit against one of the co-stars, Alum Horatio Sanz, sexually assaulted and groped a teen at parties with other SNL cast watching, like Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, that's right, Jimmy. Screw your ice cream and Ben & Jerry's. Now back to the actual thing at hand. Now for starters, this is a ongoing lawsuit. And for timeline purposes, I'm going to start in 2000s. The 15-year-old girl from Pennsylvania named Jo Dane first met Sanz when he was 31 years old after being invited to a taping of SNL. After the encounter, she would then be summoned to several after-show parties, also being invited by Jimmy Fallon via email, where she would be allowed to drink alcohol underage. While she was allowed to be drunk, she would also be touched inappropriately by Horatio, like telling her to sit on his lap, an actual quote from the lawsuit. She would also be groped by him. By the way, for the facts, this all takes place where SNL is filmed in New York, and the age of consent is 17, so pretty gross that Horatio would come after a fan, which, by the way, isn't even old enough to drive. So, Horatio, you're a pretty gross person. Also, the actual document of the lawsuit states that defendants of NBC and SNL permitted and enabled defendant Sanz to groom and ultimately significantly harm her, as described more particularly below. So, again, I'm not saying this just Jimmy Fallon. A lot more people from Hollywood probably saw this happen, but it was more concerning that Jimmy Fallon emailed her to invite her to come. So, disgusting. Now, back to the story. After the gross actions happening at the parties in 2001, making her at least 16, Horatio would invite her out, where Horatio Sanz would exchange messages with the teen and stirred conversations to discuss sexual experiences, sexual activities, sexual fantasies, masturbation, and apparently asking the underage girl to send pics of herself to him, which, yes, if you're thinking what he did with these simple pics, according to the lawsuit, and he admitted and bragged to her that he masturbated during the conversations and to the pictures. So, Sanz being just one nasty dude, and again, this was just a fan. Sanz took advantage of a young fan. Not cool, dude. She also runs apparently an SNL website for these people, so again, disgusting you would come after a actual fan. And also, this may have not been clear, but all these parties are after parties of Saturday Night Live. So basically what would happen is, once they filmed an SNL, they would have these huge parties, I'm guessing, and they would invite all kinds of people. And from what I'm going to talk about next, some of these parties were also drug parties. So, hey, now back to the parties. In September 2001, Horatio invited her to an SNL party, which again, she wouldn't even be old enough to drink. She would be invited to hard partying and even drank with others, including Jimmy Fallon, where, and this is stated by the suits, plaintiffs sat with Jimmy Fallon and others in a VIP area, ordered and consumed a Budweiser beer in the presence of NBC SNL employees, and this would be ramped up in 2002, where it became drug-fueled parties, where she would allegedly be sexually assaulted by Sanz these times. Some examples would be her being fondled in front of the others at the party, plus being kissed, and Sanz digitally penetrating her genitals forcibly. And again, I know I said this, but these are big parties, and they see all this stuff that goes down, and they do absolutely nothing to stop it. And in the case of Fallon, even contributed to helping Horatio by drinking with the underage girl, getting her drunk so Horatio could go grope her. So again, with the fact of Horatio actually being for sure a pedophile, we must admit that also all the people who work at SNL, at the very least, contributed to all of this, and who knows how many other SNL employees also touched other girls who were under the age limit. Now, sometime later, she would go down a huge depression stated by her, and in 2019, ran into Sanz at a comedy event, where Sanz would come up to her and reportedly apologize, saying he felt terrible and said she could #MeToo, swearing on an improv book, "I'm a different person." His main excuse was, and I quote, "I had a real issue with sex. I was stunned." and I don't know how it worked. He added, according to the lawsuit, I spent all my 20s trying to be funny, so I wasn't normal with girls. Which, are you actually serious? If that was his actual excuse, then the entirety of improv was just completely shut up by the mafia, since he sweared on a stack of improv books. Also, if this was his actual excuse and he said I spent all my 20s trying to be funny so I wasn't normal with girls, there was plenty of people who are funny and great with girls. For example, Pete Davidson, Kevin Hart, Dane Cook, you know what, the godlike Danny DeVito. Are you trying to tell me that comedians can't get with girls? If this is your excuse, then you're just a failure of a guy and a creep who touches, again, young fans. So yes, now not really that all surprised that she is now seeking unspecified damages under the fact that she is a victim of child sexual abuse, suffering from psychological and emotional harm, and people like Fallon who witnessed it are staying completely silent, lips zip. Fallon's rep not even saying a single thing, staying out of it, and Sanz' spokesperson claims that it's categorically false and it's just in it for the money. Yes, that is what his spokesperson said, that she just wants some extra money. Which, I don't know if these allegations are true, but there's some pretty hard evidence. Anyways, do tell me what you think about this. Do you think this actually happened? This has been Radflex. Subscribe to keep the channel growing, and like this video to help it in the algorithm. Now to meme time! Before I leave, I must tell you, Saturday Night Live success!